With forwards having an absolute field day in game week 10, I thought I'd put together a list of the best forwards to own for game week 11. For today's video, I thought I'd put together a list of my top 5 forwards for the upcoming game weeks. Obviously, 4 out of the 5 did return, and quite hefty returns as well. The only player blanking was the highest owned on this list, and it was Ollie Watkins. We will come on to talk about him and what plans you potentially have to maybe bring him in, or what your kind of future plans are, whether or not you do have him in your side already. But starting off, we're going to talk about Nketiah. A hat-trick for him. Obviously is now playing up front due to Gabriel Jesus' injury, and depending on the length of that injury, he might be a really good cheap option. Maybe if you've got that 4.5 million defender, maybe you went for João Pedro this week and that one quite didn't work out, so you know, obviously with him being benched, maybe you want to move to a more nailed player. Then I do think Nketiah does offer himself as a potential option. Looked really good, took his goals fantastically well as well, and as you can see, expected goal involvement of around 2 from the last 5 game weeks. Every player's stats here are from the last 5 game weeks. Sometimes we get questions about this, but yeah, it's all from the last 5 game weeks. But the fixtures for Arsenal coming up: Newcastle away next week is going to be an extremely difficult game. That is Burnley, Brentford, Wolves, Luton. A really nice run there of 4 cracking fixtures where you would expect Arsenal to be the favourites, to score plenty of goals in those as well. Looking at that Burnley game and the Luton game in particular, both sides struggling at the wrong end of the table, both conceding a lot of goals and big opportunities, and you imagine a natural finisher like Nketiah would be able to grab one. So I think for game week 11, maybe not, maybe hold off, but around game week 12, for a 4 game week period, if Gabriel Jesus is still out, then I definitely think he could pose himself as a fantastic differential option up front, maybe as your 3rd striker, maybe even as your 2nd striker, if you want to kind of spread the funds, utilise other players elsewhere. But yeah, definitely an option from game week 12. I think for game week 11, Newcastle away is a little bit of a tricky fixture. A lot of us do have a Newcastle defender in as well, so would kind of contradict kind of our team balance a little bit for me. But definitely from game week 11 onwards, I do think he could pose himself as a potential differential option. Moving on to our next forward, and it is Callum Wilson. Same story yet again. Next week, it is Arsenal at home, so it's going to be a difficult fixture, and the upcoming games as well, they're quite patchy, to be honest. Bournemouth away is a really good fixture, then Chelsea, Manchester United. Both them teams are a little bit kind of abstract from form at the moment as well, so maybe a Newcastle team who are doing extremely well could take advantage of Chelsea and Manchester United. Then it's Everton, then it's Tottenham, and then it's Fulham. But Callum Wilson does seem to be one of those players, when he is fit, when he's firing, and when he gets the opportunity in the side, the man just knows how to score, doesn't he? He's a very good, strong, potent finisher, on penalties as well when he's on the pitch. So again, a super nice differential. The only problem with him for me personally is that price point, 7.8 million. If you've got to choose between him and Watkins, I think you would always be going for Watkins, to be honest. Watkins just has that more kind of nailed element about him. Yes, he doesn't have the penalties, but I feel he's in a much stronger attacking unit as well, with more positive fixtures coming up over the next 5 to 6 game weeks as well. So I probably would say I'd prefer Ollie Watkins over going for Callum Wilson. But if you wanted to be a little bit different, maybe looking for your draft as well, I definitely think Callum Wilson could be a player that you potentially could consider. Really good fixtures, as you can see as well. Expected goal involvement 4.29, the 2nd highest on this list, and like I said, he is a natural finisher when he does get the opportunities, when he gets the game time, and when he can get himself a penalty as well. Moving on to arguably the most interesting asset on this list, and it is Darwin Nunes. Now, with the fixtures coming up for Liverpool, you're looking at the Luton, the Brentford, the Fulham, the Sheffield United, the Crystal Palace. Some absolutely immense fixtures, and with the situation that is happening, unfortunately, for Luis Diaz, you do feel that potentially offers more room in the side for players like Nunes, Jota and Gakpo. And with his impressive performance today, a goal and an assist, obviously had a really good Europa League performance as well. I know he missed that stinker, but still, it was a very strong performance. This year has put in some really good data as well. What you can see from his limited minutes so far: 2 goals, 3 assists, 3.92 expected goal involvement. Again, it is that price point that is going to be a little bit sticky, But I definitely think if you wanted to go, maybe you've got Watkins and you maybe wanted to switch him out after game week 15, I think Nunes could be that option with Sheffield United in that game week. They arguably are one of the worst teams in the league this year. Them and Luton are definitely fixtures we always want to be looking to target. That Liverpool attack is looking mighty ferocious as well. So I definitely think if you can't get Salah, maybe your team's kind of already tied up. I don't think Darwin can necessarily cover him off. I don't think, you know, the point scoring ability is quite there. But if you wanted a Liverpool option in your team, I definitely think Darwin could be that player. Right, let's move on to Ollie Watkins, a player that quite a lot of us brought in this week, 41.9% owned, so arguably, well, he is the highest owned player on this list, and for very, very good reasons. Has been a consistent scorer over the opening 10 game weeks, didn't score against Luton, but created 1.5 or 1.6 expected goal involvement, so if you are an owner or a new owner, I wouldn't be looking to hit that sell button immediately because he was still involved, creating plenty of opportunities and missed 2 huge chances as well. As you can see, 5 goals and 4 assists. I do expect him to do quite well over the next few fixtures. You've got Nottingham Forest, who looked abysmal today at the back against Liverpool. Then Fulham as well, who have slightly tightened up. They're not the worst team for XG conceded anymore, but they're still down that wrong end of the table. And in terms of their data defensively, they're still down that bottom end of the table. So again, a really good fixture. Tottenham away, that game could go either way. And then you're looking at that Bournemouth away fixture as well, just after that. Another cracking fixture. Game week 15, it does take a turn for Aston Villa with Manchester City, Arsenal and Brentford. So at that point, we're probably looking to offload players like Watkins, maybe move to a Darwin Nunes for that Sheffield United fixture, maybe move to some other potential assets as well. But I think for the next few, I would hold Ollie Watkins. He did blank today, but I expect him to be back in the goals over the next few game weeks. He can't keep creating the opportunities that he's doing. Villa as well are looking super attacking, super dangerous, so definitely he will get quite a few more opportunities to score some goals. Finishing up, our final player of today is Evan Ferguson, back in the Brighton side for today's game and back amongst the goals. He is an excellent natural finisher, but for me personally, I think I still would be avoiding. If you wanted to get a Brighton asset in your team, I think Mitoma is arguably the most nailed player out of the bunch, but there's heavy rotation within that side. We saw that with João Pedro today. We saw that with Ansu Fati as well. There is quite a lot of rotation that does happen. They don't have any Carabao Cup fixtures this week, so it might mean that Evan Ferguson does become available for the Everton away. Then you're looking at Sheffield United, then Nottingham Forest as well. So some really, really good fixtures in kind of the short term for Brighton as well. Definitely a team we want to be attacking, but it's where do we find our assets? For me personally, I think I would probably go Mitoma, maybe a Dingra are the only two that I would potentially stretch for. We've seen the rotation that De Zerbi kind of has within his side. We've seen the fact that, you know, Ferguson has sometimes missed out. João Pedro missed out today. But I do think Ferguson is one of those players, like I said, he's a natural finisher. Very reminiscent of Harry Kane at times, the way that he strikes the ball, the way that he finishes, the positions that he does get himself into. So if you did want to maybe go for a gamble for the next 3 game weeks, maybe you've got that little bit of budget in your team to potentially go for a little bit of a gamble, I think Evan Ferguson could be it, but I wouldn't be shocked to see him potentially bench. So for me personally, I think I would avoid and potentially look at other Brighton assets. Those were my top striker picks for game week 11. Let me know what you think of them down in the comments below. If you need any help with your team as well, get them in the comments, as I do try to answer every single one. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your day and good luck this game week.